Welcome back to Rain World. In the previous episode, Hunter traversed his way through the Sky Islands, a region of rough terrain and open skies featuring many of the game's most dangerous predators. In this episode, mechanical marvels appear on the horizon, with a plethora of decayed structures separating Dear Hunter from his first destination of the journey. But as he slithers his way through the gates, things are not quite as they seem. There's a familiar presence that greets our red friend upon entering this new region. A tinted hue washes over the landscape, first gray and soon growing into a beautiful blue. Without any creatures around, the sounds of nature become muted, giving way to a message from the world itself. And so, I will allow the game to take over for just a moment and deliver on its halcyon atmosphere once more.
Behold, this empty husk of a land, populated only by storms, ruins, and abominations. It wasn't always thus. I was once the count of 2 living blocks, esteemed by my peers. I had progeny. From within my vessel of flesh, I would pitch upon this spot to observe the rising of the sun. Corporeal matters seem so distant now. Most have forgotten this place, but I remain. Perhaps I reminisce because I cannot go. Perhaps I cannot go because memory traps me here.
So we have met with the Echo of 19 Spades, Endless Reflections. Just as last time, the Echo gifts Hunter with an increase to his spirituality. This Echo's dialogue fills in another small piece of the puzzle, and we get to learn a bit about the nature of these celestial beings. It told us that it isn't just random chance that brought it to that location. The Echo is tied to its memories and feelings toward the world, and is essentially trapped in an eternal state of reflection. It's a being that is simultaneously all-powerful over its surroundings, and powerless over its own dilemma. There's still much to be discovered about these echoes, but the discussion will continue as more context is filled in. Hunter has found himself high atop a region known as the Chimney Canopy. One of the smallest regions in the game, the Chimney Canopy primarily acts as a transitional area. There's plenty to explore down below, but in this episode, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the various landmarks and, let's say, features of this region. I have a strong hunch that Hunter will be returning here at some point in his journey, and trust me, the Chimney Canopy will get its time in the spotlight. But for now, Hunter is tasked with running across the many steel bridges that line the top of this zone. Just as we saw in the Sky Islands, vultures and king vultures rule the skies here. Acting as their home region, Chimney Canopy has more vultures than any other region in the game. It can get hectic fast. But Red was feeling quite bold this morning, after his successful battle with the king last time. Even with a decent arsenal, however, contending with their movement capabilities is a different beast. This guy was like taunting us or something. I don't really know what was up with his lazy wing. One thing I have yet to mention about vultures is that demasking them doesn't necessarily guarantee a kill. A vulture without a mask is a vulture that's pissed. They're relentless after losing their mask, and chase down whoever took it with every last ounce of their strength. There is actually an ecological reason for this. He's not just salty. Vultures have a hierarchy system where losing a mask is essentially a mark of shame. And suddenly the family business isn't so brotherly anymore. Play the game for long enough, and you'll see what I mean. No sense in spoiling it now. Vulture aggression is a surprisingly complex topic that we'll no doubt come into contact with later. But on the subject of the family business, this family of sky chickens is relentless. Hunter thought that having a ceiling above the fight would offer an advantage, but one unique trait about vultures is that they are massive pussy. They have a tendency to retreat when they realize it's a losing battle, much to the chagrin of Hunter. But there's still spoils to be had, as he comes across the very first popcorn plant of this venture. Popcorn plants, simply put, are infinite food for the cycle. Hit it with a spear and watch it pop. But as always, be wary of what may come from above. The aerial threats in this region salivate at the thought of a defenseless slugcat getting nice and plump out in the open. Still, if the situation allows, it's always a good idea to take the opportunity to fill your stomach when you come across one of these. There's not many times in this adventure that Hunter will be given such a grace. With a full stomach and the ambition to conquer what lies beyond, Hunter reaches the gate on the opposite end. And that's about all I have for you in this episode, folks. Thank you all for what? Nah, I'm kidding. Since we really only had a brief flirt with this region, the real meat of this video is in the one upcoming. The Grand Bridge connects to an absolutely massive structure that stretches high above the clouds, higher than even the communications array that Hunter explored last time. As for the nature of this superstructure, not much is revealed at first, but we are given a very creative name for the side of its rough exterior. Welcome to the Wall. The Wall is a region of rigid machinery that is being overrun by the never-ending march of nature. Twisted turbines, serpentine struts, and cream-colored clouds cover this confounding course. But the overgrown equipment isn't all that awaits Hunter during his ascent. As you can imagine, this is yet another region dominated by vultures. But they are far from the only concern for your typical slugcat. The Wall is home to two of the most agile, and also quite frustrating, lizard varieties in the campaign. This is the reason why I'm clinging to the vulture mask for dear life. Excuse my shameless pun, but this region is an uphill battle. There are plenty of soul-crushing ways to fall all the way down, and the sheer speed and range of the lizards we'll be encountering could easily cause first-time players to spend hours attempting to climb to the top. I was one such player my first few times, but Hunter isn't having any of that nonsense today. This video will feature quite a few biographies, but let's get the easiest one out of the way first. The creature you just saw fumble the bag is known as a dropwig. They're enormous insects that use the element of surprise to literally get the drop on their prey. The key to avoiding these bumbling bugs is to pay close attention when you enter a new room. Their mandibles will move very slightly when a room loads, allowing you to see where they're hiding. But in most cases, let's be real, you're probably going to have to contend with them after they go for their surprise attack. Dropwigs are extremely dangerous, even when you're able to spot them ahead of time. Their sheer speed and frantic movement make them tough to hit with a spear, and they have a lightning-fast lunge attack that'll turn Hunter into a kebab real quick. But if you do manage to land a hit, all it takes is one to send a dropwig going straight to hell. But it looks like we've got a 2-for-1 here, folks. We're finally at the point you've all been waiting for. Enter the Cyan Lizard. The most annoying enemy Hunter will come to face in the campaign. Oh yeah, the most. Cyan Lizards come packed with just about everything. Quick movement speed, incredible hearing, medium-range tongue attacks, the dexterity to climb on any surface, and of course, the ability to leap huge distances in less than a second. They also tend to travel in packs. They might as well shoot lasers. The only, and I mean only, weakness of a Cyan Lizard stems from its own ability. When tagged by a spear in mid-jump, these guys lose complete control of themselves and can literally rocket off in random directions. This can be used to great effect in an area like the Wall, where bottomless pits await them down below. Aside from this, the only thing that a Cyan Lizard truly fears is a King Vulture. Thankfully for Hunter, he's currently pretty indistinguishable from King Chicken to a puny lizard brain. It may seem a bit cheap to abuse the vulture mask here, essentially trivializing my rant, but trust me, this video would be an hour long if Hunter tried to take them on one at a time. Still, I'll admit that reigning terror over these insufferable bastards is only fun for so long. Well, okay, that's a lie. It's always fun for me, but for the sake of keeping the playthrough interesting, this is the final region I'll be using the vulture mask for. I promise. You could easily carry this thing through the entire game, but that's not what any of you are here to see, is it? You want to see me suffer, don't you? Well, you bunch of sadists, just remember that it's Hunter that endures most of the suffering. Let's check in with Red and see how he feels about this whole thing. Well said, buddy. The ambience of the wall is incredible. During the first half of the ascent, the fog and cloud cover is way too thick to see anything going on in the background. But in just a bit, we're going to get a view like nothing we've seen yet. Already you might be able to just barely make out some antennas in the far background. But the developers expertly designed this area so that more information is slowly and silently given to the player as they make their way up the wall. If they're attentive enough to notice. Back in episode 1, I mentioned how Rain World acts doubly as a game and an artistic piece. The world is an enormous place, far too large for one lone slugcat to explore all on their own. Despite this, the subtle hints that the game's environments emanate throughout the entire adventure tell a grander story than the one that Survivor, Monk, or even Hunter will experience. What I appreciate most about Rain World's lore is that so much of it has to be inferred through exploration. There is certainly dialogue in the game, as we've seen and will likely continue to see, but it's carefully crafted so that not too much is outright given away. A common complaint about this game amongst people who play it for the first time is that exploration is a waste of time. There are no permanent power-ups to find, no complex dialogue trees to engage with, and no hidden challenges to stumble upon in the world itself. So does that mean that their criticism is valid? In my opinion,
the answer is yes and no.
Having little to no tangible reward for going out of your way is the antithesis of what most gamers expect to see in their action-adventure platformers. It can be frustrating to think outside the box and traverse your way to a hidden path, only to find that it's a dead end. I know that plenty of my friends don't play games for the immersion. They play games for that sweet dopamine release from finding a shiny power-up that plows through enemies faster. Even amongst my friends, who have played an ass ton more video games than I have, almost none of them have been able to sit through this game for longer than half an hour tops. Rain World is a game for those who want to take in the art style, listen to the rushing water or howling winds, and just set some time aside to think about what it all means. Until a king vulture skewers them through the throat. The beautifully handcrafted artwork and music are essential to understanding what this world is about and how things became this way. There are also commentaries on technology versus nature, man versus the lure of life's vices, and so much more that I wouldn't have time to fully touch on even if I did 10 different retrospectives on the game. But all of these things combined only matter if the player cares about them. Yeah, I mean, without that, you just have a game about running away from lizards and stabbing bugs. Despite all the valid criticisms of this game's structure, I do believe that Rain World rewards those who see it through to the end. There are some genuinely breathtaking views that Slugcat will come into contact with, and no matter who you are or which campaign you complete, the game will leave you with something to think about. This is one such moment, and in fact one of the most iconic moments in Hunter's journey. In the background, we witness what lies beyond the thick canopy of clouds. You may be wondering what that giant box is in the background, and if you look closely enough, you'll see that there are numerous structures exactly like it that litter the world all the way through the horizon, each accompanied with their own antennas that practically stretch into space. How much do you want to bet that we're traversing something very similar right now? These are the types of moments I described earlier, where the game tells you nothing and shows you everything. It's world building and story progression with 0 dialogue, 0 reactions from Hunter, and 0 seconds taken from the player's control over their quest. We get to learn, through our own exposure to the world, that this superstructure is not one of a kind. Hunter is just the tiniest raindrop on the pavement compared to the world he inhabits. Superstructures, communications arrays, and likely their own ecosystems beneath are everywhere in this world. But with only instinct-driven beasts inhabiting the areas we've seen, who could have built these places? And why? There's still more pieces of the puzzle we need to figure it all out, but for now, I just want to stress how amazing this view really is. On my initial playthrough, coming up to this point as Survivor was when the scale of the world hit me like a truck. Some special touches that I love here are the stars and the moon shining down on the world. It's like the universe's way of saying that no matter what's happening here, or what insane history this land carries, the celestial bodies out in space don't care. Time and space move forward regardless of who or what is around to witness it. But that's not all there is to see up here. No, far from it actually. Hunter has encountered a gate surrounded by a peaceful blue aura and angelic sounds radiating from above. The symbols to the east and west are in a language long forgotten, but clearly appear to indicate an important juncture in the road. The gate itself seems to be locked behind some sort of symbol that we've never encountered before, forcing a retreat. Before Hunter can consider another way across, however, there's something that calls out to him. Something very warm and familiar, yet extraterrestrial, making its home atop the wall. By now, you all know what to expect, so let's listen to what wisdom the world wishes to bestow upon our humble red friend.
We can feel your presence, little creature. Your attunement has become much closer to ours. The mark you received is an unimaginable gift. The struggle, the cycles, it can all fade like a morning mist beneath the glory of the sun. We found a way.
Yet again, Hunter has encountered an echo. 6 grains of gravel, mountains abound. The final echo he'll be meeting with for a significant chunk of the playthrough ahead. This echo immediately recognized Hunter's attunement over the course of this venture, and his uncanny ability to understand their language. Yes, echoes and slugcats speak very different languages, but there's something about Hunter that allows him to communicate with ghostly beings anyway. This is actually a bit of lore that you only discover by playing Survivor or Monks campaigns. I'm going to discuss it more as it becomes relevant in the next episode, but for now, folks, we've got one last biography to tackle for this region. Enter the White Lizard. White lizards are masters of camouflage. They have the unique ability to change their colors to completely blend in with the environment. They find a cozy spot, sit their ass down, and wait. And wait. And wait. The moment something tasty approaches their bite range, they break their disguise and go in for the kill. White lizards aren't just dangerous up close, though. They have by far the longest tongue attack of any lizard species, and they put that thing to good use. Please do not ask what that tongue do, he will be happy to show it off. And escaping from a lizard's clingy grasp is pretty much entirely dependent on your ability to hit them with something. They kind of remind me of, well, let's not go there. Aside from these advantages, white lizards have all the agility of blue and cyan lizards. They're able to climb on any surface to find a good hiding spot, or chase after their prey. A white lizard's weakness is very similar to a dropwig's. When a screen loads, there's a brief second where they'll flash a different color than their environment, giving you a chance to plan out your attack. But many times, these sons of guns will hide out right outside pipes and between room transitions, so my best advice is to always stay alert when you're in a zone that houses them. But 2 hits with a spear from good old Hunter will turn a white lizard into a hearty meal. And of course, a king vulture mask will get them freaking out on sight. God, I'll miss this thing. I have more to say about the nature of ambush predators and the various tactics to outsmart them, but I'll save that for next time. What you just saw was a bit of an advanced technique. If you hold down and throw a spear while in the middle of a backflip animation, Hunter will throw the spear straight down, implanting it into the ground. It takes a lot of practice to get it right, but it can allow for some crafty maneuvering to reach shortcuts. Or in this case, the hidden path that takes Hunter to the top of the wall. Atop the wall, we are greeted with a sprawling city in the far background. That's right, this superstructure is just the base for an entire metropolis. As for who lived here, what happened to them, why the top of this structure looks and feels like a desert, these are questions that will take many different campaigns to truly form the answers to. But observant viewers may be starting to put those pieces together already. There are no threats that spawn atop the wall. To my knowledge, not even vultures venture to these heights. It's simply a chance for Hunter to take in some fresh air, swallow his pride, and continue forward. He may not have a chance to visit the hot topic this time, but there's still some blistering realities he's going to face within this structure in the next episode. With all of that said, thank you all for supporting this series, and I will rejoin you next week. Have a good night, folks.